same sentence.
Yeah, you saw a YouTube video
The
once.
first rules they have when they come into a new country are 1, to pick a king, and 2, to cut off the seeds of Amalek, which are children.
Wait, but what about the 6 billion people?
They all have to die because either they reference Jesus Christ, like the Hindus, they reference Jesus Christ in Krishna. The Muslims, they pray to Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ is supposed to be their redeemer within their text, Sahih Bukhari. Or Christians, all of them, they say need to die. They say even some of the Jews who shout out JC because they don't want to say Jesus Christ, they say they need to go. So
See, this is the real reason. This is the real reason why he had Malcolm X as a profile picture, not because he's into like the civil rights movement, but because he doesn't like Jewish people.
I think it's because he likes black men in glasses.
They wanna kill you though, and 6 billion other people.
Well, they're lost because they're following a false god, and that's their problem. But we can bring them to the truth.
I thought they worship the same God as the Christians.
Well, we shout out
No,
JC,
they don't,
we shout out JJ as well.
Wait, sir, what did you say, Midas?
I said they don't. No. Furthermore, they follow the Talmud more. They believe that they themselves are God. But within their construct, even within the Talmud, Barakat 7a.3, Hashem prays to Jesus Christ, the judging attribute of Genesis 18:2. So
does it like get tiring for you to put on the like Malcolm X act? Like does having to talk like that all the time when you're in here, does that like wear out your vocal cords or something?
This might be problematic.
Yeah. There's been a lot of attack on Midas. Timothy, would you come to the defense here?
Yeah, Timothy,
But
would you
you
come to
have to
defense
shout
here?
out JJ. Like, it's not just a JC thing; it's James Just thing. Because
JCPO.
I've got a serious question though, like on that topic, right? So the big homie James the Just was stoned to death, Andrew, for his like proselytizing, for continuing Christ's ministry. Like, okay, given that he didn't rise after 3 days, like, I don't know. Like, I'm actually not sure if like being, what was it, like lashed with the cat o' nine tails or something, and then having to drag the crucifix through the street, being like whipped and heckled and whatever by, I guess all of your compatriots, and then I guess being crucified for however long, and then like, you know,
was James the sinless word of God?
Are you saying like that?
All the sins.
No, but are you saying that's like more torturous than being like stoned to death?
I like how Andrew throws the Pokeball, and then Timothy comes out of the Pokeball and farts in Andrew's face instead of attacking.
I'm being like to say, like, if someone offered me right now the 2 options, what do you think I'm more likely to take? Legit question.
Repeat the question so it can be clear.
It would be more likely to be James the Just, which is what you chose.
I'm just saying, no, I wouldn't want to be. What do you mean, be stoned to death and then not rise?
Taking the sin of the world. Yes, yeah, pretty sure.
No, I'm saying, no, that's not why I asked you. I said, which is a more torturous?
Well,
I just described the Via Dolorosa, all that kind of stuff, versus being stoned to death by like your fellow, like your compatriots or your
being whipped
Jewish
and
brethren.
tacked up on the cross. I mean, I don't know. And
clearly, Jesus, like, torture can get worse than what Jesus had.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like,
of course.
No, but I'm saying James the Just is the like kind of a, you know, like Andrew likes to say gangster, right? I just think that's a bit more gangster.
That was pretty gangster.
Yeah, Christ left him essentially for paradise. He's like, Jesus, where are you going? Jesus like, paradise.
I would like
what do you think?
I would like Heritage Carl and Midas.
You think they were probably like
Heritage Carl and Midas?
These
are all my handlers.
Guy. Imagine
I also think Caucasians need handlers too.
Can you imagine if someone asked one of the disciples?
They'll get him
where's
eventually,
Jesus? He was just healing us last week. Where's he going? He's in paradise, man. He's chilling.
But this is filibustering, right? You realize that? I mean, you're really talking too much.
He memorized the word filibustering just for this occasion.
Oh my god! You should have heard how he imagine.
Can you prove that racism exists?
Wait, but imagine Midas thought posthumous meant post-birth.
Is this the famed holding it down that he did last night that Andrew was talking about?
Oh, mate, he was.
No, that was this morning.
He said
that was this morning.
He said something like,
you on that, didn't I?
He's like, oh, do you think?
Didn't I
He's
destroy
like,
you on that?
he's like, what if the mother? He's like, what if your? He's like, do you think your mother should kill
Well, I
you
was like, what if
I was
the
like,
Constitution
after you were
which
born, right? And I was like, no. I was like, what
14
would it? And he's like, if your mother, he's like, if your mother kills you posthumously.
Oh man.
Well, this is what we
He didn't even understand the
messed
correct
up on one word, but you messed up on the entire argument.
Did he mess up post-human?
His mother should have the right to kill him after he won.
He railed him
for the sake of his
about
organs.
he said murder is unconstitutional, and he was like, murder isn't in the Constitution.
Sixth Amendment.
Oh my god.
I brought the 14th Amendment to back my claims, and you guys
What's
had
the
no
14th Amendment? Life because of your happiness, does it?
No, that's another thing he said that is also not in the Constitution.
Yeah. Midas is a legend.
Rape, on the other hand.
Right, but you still lost the argument. Because according to the documentation,
Lost the
the
argument.
child still has rights.
So I
within
totally
the law.
owed you.
No, you
With
still
all
lost
my
the
sources
argument.
that I brought to justice.
So are you saying that the child doesn't have rights? The child doesn't have rights within the womb. Is that what you're
This is
saying?
problematic.
Well, you don't.
Are you saying that the child
remember what
doesn't
I
have
said,
rights within
but-
the womb? Don't deflect.
Well, what I said was the 14th Amendment and the Constitution as a whole is completely silent on whether or not fetuses are persons. But the statute you linked refers to persons, and what it says
Yeah, he's
is
not good with
the state
links.
the state can't kill them without due process. It doesn't say fetuses, like, aborting fetuses is murder.
A fetus is the same as a person. Can you show us any other thing that
Well,
can
that's
become a
what the
person?
Constitution is
Just the
silent on.
developmental stage. No,
Yeah,
you got an answer, by the way.
Fallacy. By using the word fetus, that's still a unborn person.
Yeah, because just because someone, hey, let me just say this real fast. Just because someone is at a different stage of their life, don't make them less human. I mean,
We all agree with that,
let me just finish, Bob. I mean, hey Bob, just let me finish though. If you all agree, just agree on mute. But yeah, man, you don't get to say
I
that.
agree on voice.
Yeah, I know. You and the Malachi, of course you do. But my point is, nonetheless, my point is, you don't get to say that a teenager is not a person because he's not an adult, right? You don't get to say a 10-year-old or a child, right? You don't get to say they're not a person because they're not an adult. Let me just finish. So then when we keep moving the line back, eventually we get to a place of, well, it's a person, but it hasn't fully developed, so we can actually kill the person who hasn't fully developed. So why are we okaying it? And then, like I heard somebody say, you put a certain title on it.
Why are we okay in it?
Yeah, so I know, Piper, you just love when I talk, don't you? You and Malachi just can't take the pressure. Yeah, so the point is, so we see now. So we see plain as day. So when does
Bring up in the context.
when does what stage does a person become
Why
a
haven't you
person?
destroyed? Why haven't you destroyed?
Let me finish.
Why you let
Let me
me
finish.
No.
Let me finish.
You landed.
I'm trying to, but Piper's cutting me off. I would have been landed if I had 5 seconds without Piper over talking me. I could have had my thought out. Oh, okay. All right. So you say just bulldoze.
I think so.
I'm a moderator.
So just bulldoze and run.
Point of moderation. Yeah. Timothy, did you get a reply?
I'm being muted. I don't know.
How is Sasha surviving
I want to know that too. How the fuck were you continuing to talk?
There's only one other person I found that survived the mute.
So are we saying it's okay? Are we saying it's okay to kill?
Fucking hell.
Are we saying it's okay to kill the adolescents because they're not fully developed?
I did tell him to bulldoze.
Yeah, I know. But look, like you guys, somebody has to fucking moderate. You ain't doing shit.
Annoying person.
Your version of moderation was to just tell him to bulldoze.
Yes, you're very.
Well, you should have just told everybody to let it. No, you
You fucking muted everyone. I'm gonna move everyone down. If you speak right now, you're getting moved down. Okay. Andrew. That's a horrible way to moderate. What you might as well just said, I don't want to moderate.
Oh, I don't want to moderate, but I'm saying I want him to be able to speak.
Okay, next time just ask Timothy or to do something.
No, but we would have done something. But like, look, general rule as well, especially if you're the one albedo moderating the room. I don't know how Sasho's impervious to it or whatever.
I don't know.
Don't come straight into Andrew. What people for some weird reason, it's like if Andrew's part of the conversation, everybody's allowed to interrupt. You need to isolate people and be like, yo, I'm in charge now. You know, I'm the captain now. And then
That's what I did, and I'm not even a mod.
Bro, how are you?
Oh, you're too quiet though.
Wait,
yes, we need to speak about your immunity here.
Speak now, Sasha. I'm gonna try to mute you locally. I'm gonna try to mute you locally, yeah? Go.
You have no power here.
Oh my goodness!
That's wild.
This isn't even a debate. At what point does life start? At what point does life begin?
You have no power here.
yourself at night.
What the fuck?
He's
That's
ascended.
crazy. I tried too.
Yeah, it's a vegan ethics or something. God is like tourism.
She's
He's the only
ascended.
one. He's the only one that
At what point does life
we
begin?
all fail.
Why are you guys
That's
running
a
from the
miracle.
actual conversation?
Because you
Yeah, okay, so anyways, look.
That's good to know for those like Matt Yester rooms or Darth Dawkins rooms.
See, this is how.
I don't know. I think I still need to be brought up. I don't know if they can remove me.
At what point does life begin? At what point does a person become a person?
When you
Go
touch
ahead.
yourself at night.
This and safety first and foremost, right? Like trying to create those safe spaces so that this type of work, these type of conversations continue to be openly had and discussed in a way. And I want to acknowledge Billy and Sev, because my friends, we've been rocking here since like 7:30 this morning, and I think my dog needs to go to the bathroom. And wow.
Yeah, you know, the Orange Sunshine that I sold to Beaver Girls in 1968 was very effective. We're still friends to this day, all of us.
Well, one of my best friends and mentors worked at the Mystic Arts in Laguna Beach. And if anybody's ever read the Sunshine Acid Test, the Orange Sunshine Acid Test, this place is.
No, I'm sorry. I kind of forgot about that because I thought it was such a ridiculous thing.
I didn't forget about it.
I'm sorry. It just seems so. Like, wait, you've been listening to him for years, and what he said in 2 minutes changed your opinion about him? I mean, I could see disagreeing with you, but I thought that was an illogical...
Yeah, I encourage people to disagree with me as long as they've got what it takes to disagree with me. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so, no, I mean,
my mods disagree with me all the time. They're not shy. Yeah, go ahead, yeah.
Yeah, but so my personal opinion was that I didn't think you were beyond boundaries or going somewhere inappropriate. It's not
I
really the
didn't
adjective I'm
break
looking
the
for.
rules because the worst thing that could happen to this show is if I broke my own rules. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much where I'll land. I really did enjoy the show. Like I said, my morning flew by just hearing everybody's thoughts, and it was a great 3 hours, Uncle Steve. I will be back next Saturday and Sunday as usual.
Thank you, first class escort down my red carpet. And now let's go to Benjamin. And Benjamin's been here for so many years. Benjamin, I don't give a shit what you thought of the show, but I will give you your opportunity to say goodbye.
Oh, yeah, I thought Scott did a pretty good job of explaining why Democrats lose. So thanks for that. And I thought James did a pretty good job of not listening, which is so typical of the Democratic Party. That was excellent. Look, the specifics of this are kind of particular, right? This notion that schools can take minor children and take them in for drugs or surgery to change their gender. That crosses a bright line that will light up the Christian movement. So if James want to continue to promote that, that's a good recipe for losing. But yeah, I thought it was a good show. I didn't understand the last speaker's problem with ranking religions. I think all ideas need to be understood.
I don't think that was the last speaker. I think it may have been a couple of speakers ago.
Yeah, a couple speakers ago.
Yeah.
But this notion that we can't rank ideas as better or worse is, I just don't accept it. We can. And separation between ideas and people is important. When you criticize somebody's ideas, you're not criticizing the person. You're just you just shape them to have better ideas. Some ideas are better than others. Some countries are run better than others.
Yep.
And as a rule, Islamic countries are run really, really badly.
Thank you, Benjamin. Boy, I got to tell you, Benjamin, you can hit the nail on the head sometimes. I really wish you would do it more often. Richard, would you like to say goodbye?
This is going to be I'm getting famous in another room for asymmetry and randomness. This is going to be quite random. Goodbye. A pathologist during the AIDS epidemic in the 1980s and 90s, there were hundreds of thousands of gay men that died in the United States, and he was charged as a pathologist to do many, many, many autopsies. One of the things that he discovered in evaluating all of these dead gay men is that, ironically, they have larger penises than the average heterosexual. I will leave you with that scientific information. Have a good night.
You want to give us the name of the pathologist?
You can find it. It's in Google. He's famous for it in pathological circles. He was in California, and he was doing literally hundreds of autopsies because of his responsibility, I believe, in Los Angeles County. It's not a big deal. It's just interesting. I'll leave it at that.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. First class escort VIP. Les, would you like to say goodbye? Les, would you like to say goodbye?
Yes, I want to point out that only 47 of all the U.S. presidents in history have been Christians.
Or a specific faction of the Christian religion. I believe some of them have been Catholic, like Joe Biden.
Those are Christian.
Okay. Like I said, a faction of the Christian religion. Thank you for pointing that out. First class escort to the VIP. JCC, you've been here since the start. You come all the time. JCC, I don't say it enough. Thank you for your continued support of Ask Uncle Steve and Ask the Atheist. Would you like to say goodbye?
I'm like a jock support, right? Keep it.
Well, I'm not going to let anybody on Clubhouse measure the size of my penis. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Great show as always. I always enjoy it. Sometimes I listen, sometimes I contribute, sometimes I don't. Yeah, before I say adieu and happy trails to all and you and everybody else, we are all people living on this wonderful ball that doesn't care about us at all. We got to understand that people have different beliefs, different ideologies. It's really important to not allow those personal beliefs and personal ideologies affect others around us, and then we can get along much better. To that, I bid everybody happy trails. Adieu to all. Peace out.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. First class escort VIP. Now we go to the mods who do not get first class escorts to the VIP. They have to continue earning their paycheck and doing the heavy lifting. Cora, would you like to say goodbye?
Goodbye, and good morning, afternoon, evening, everyone.
Thank you, Cora. Enjoy the Super Bowl if you intend on watching it. John, would you like to say goodbye?
Yeah, I have three things. Number one, I just wanted to make sure, because I wasn't sure, Scott, I made a comment earlier in the chat a reference to booze, and I just wanted to make sure that Scott saw that I was not referring to him. Congrats, man. So that's first. Number two, you asked Violet about how the show went, and she was too sweet to say that you interrupt too much, which you already know. So I'll just say it for her. And in proof that you allow your mods to say anything, because that's the kind of guy you are, Steve. And then finally, when Daryl was leaving, he made me kind of appreciate something that I think I hadn't. I've wondered why it is that I'm willing to just say, okay, they won, and give up. I'm not gonna be the one that participates in the violence and bloodshed that's going to be required to return America to a democracy eventually. But what he was pointing that out, that's kind of the nature of liberals. They don't do that kind of thing. And that made me kind of realize, because it will be the case that we will all want to get back to being a democracy. And the people who will initiate the bloodshed that is going to be required to do that will be the very people who took democracy away from us. That's my new prediction. So thanks, everybody. Enjoy your music. Enjoy your science. And don't watch the news. It'll make you.
Thank you. And I want to comment on something that John said today. He said yesterday. He said previously before. I don't believe that the only way to get back to what John perceives as democracy is bloodshed. I would only hope that in the future, when John talks about the only way to get back to the democracy that him and many others see is bloodshed, is that he might just say, that might be one way. I would hope that if the nieces and nephews, Uncle Steve's militia, do not think what's happening today is true democracy, which is fine, that there would be another option besides bloodshed. Just think about it. And with that, let's go to... Oh, John, enjoy the Super Bowl. Sam, would you like to say goodbye?
Absolutely. I have a number of points to make. Unlike John, I didn't count them. So
take 3 minutes max.
Absolutely. Absolutely. First of all, you ask if your room crossed the line today. And if you want to ask that question, you first have to define what the line is. So since you didn't do that, I would say your room was exactly like every other room you have had. So if someone thinks this room crossed the line, then all of your shows crossed the line. If they didn't think this crossed the line, then none of your shows crossed the line. So that's one thing. The other one is, Fadi and Scott, if Christians were to limit themselves to the Sermon on the Mount, who knows, I would have been an atheist Christian. Because I think that's one of the most amazing guides to how you should live your life that unfortunately the majority of Christians I've come across don't do that. Third, enjoy your Super Bowl Sunday. This is my favorite Sunday of the year because from about 2 to 3 hours before the kickoff, I have all of Costco and Home Depot to myself, and I go nuts. So I'm going to do that today as well. And for those of you in sunny Southern California, please keep us Rocky Mountain denizens in your thoughts and prayers as we brave through this cold snap.
Thank you, Sam. Enjoy your Super Bowl. Alfonso, would you like to say goodbye? Alfonso might be in...
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Steve, for the room again. Welcome everyone to church. And it was awesome to have a full house today. All moderators came in. Dr. James just left, but it just feels like a great community to be part of this. And I want to extend a big hug and appreciation for my friend Sam Tomasabi, who's a great guy. I just love seeing you, Sam, and it's great to have you on stage. I hope can hang out a little more. I am not participating as much on Clubhouse because I am busy with work. I've landed some jobs, so I'm not even doing the book club these days. But I'm never gonna miss our Sundays. I wanted to make it to the Saturday room yesterday, but Saturdays are a little complicated. But I'm gonna try to be here as much as I can, at least on weekends. And thanks to Steve, Scott. I also want to congratulate Scott because he has a really good grasp on objectivity. He never gets personal. He analyzes the situation. I really appreciate that. And of course, John and Cora, the more scientifically, objectively minded, who make really valuable comments when it's necessary. And so I'm very glad to have to be part of this community. And of course, Steve, you're the rock.
Thank you. I was just about to shed a tear. Before we go to Reverend Scott, I want to say thank you, Alfonso, because my mod squad is the best mod squad on Clubhouse. Period. End of story. I've said it yesterday. I said it before. I'll say it again. Some people say I'm the best moderator on Clubhouse. I don't agree. You're welcome to say that. I don't agree. I consider myself better than most, not as good as some. But when it comes to my mod squad, they are absolutely, unquestionably, black and white, no gray, the best mod squad. And I'll tell you why. Because they all come from their different areas of expertise. And they don't all agree. They're not an echo chamber. And they can talk about intelligently other issues besides their field of expertise. And they know they have the freedom, both on the show as well as in the back channel. And they all have my cell phone to call me to comment on me and or the show. I have the best mod squad, bar none, on Clubhouse. And with that, let's go to Reverend Scott. Would you like to say goodbye? Oh, Alfonso, enjoy the Super Bowl. Reverend Scott, would you like to say goodbye?
I want to take a moment of privilege here. First off, I want to say, Uncle Steve, I agree. This is the greatest squad. I thank you for the kind words, Alfonso. And I do delight when we're all here. I think we work well together. Sam, I appreciate the opening you gave me today to talk a little bit. It was great. And good luck at Costco. I want to say our fearless leader, Uncle Steve, I always love being here with you and being with the mics. I want to invoke in my closing comment and goodbye quickly the WWJD Rule 1 myself. I was pretty wounded this week, Steve, by some things that were said about me, said about you. I think I overreacted a little bit. I think I probably didn't give in to my better angels. I think I probably, rather than, I had several off-ramps where I could have de-escalated things probably, and I chose because I thought the person wasn't being sufficiently apologetic or something to escalate things. That's not my best self. I think Jesus would not be pleased with that. I think maybe, I know the Music Heals room, by the way, was an effort that you reached out to me when I was in pain. And, maybe we did go a little over the top there. And although, I know it got more replays than anything. I just want to say, I don't think this week I was my best self. And so to any of my friends that were drawn up into that, if any of my friends that were, the controversy affected them, because I know people can be kind of small and people can say, well, what side are you on and what happened and all that stuff. I just want to say, again, I want to say some things were said that I think were not okay to be said. But I reacted in a way that I'm not proud of. And so I thank you all for your friendship and your support. And I'm going to try to be a little more like my favorite Jew, Jesus Christ, in the future. Thank you, Uncle Steve, and I'll be back next.
Thank you. And one follow-up question. Where is our youngest nephew? I haven't seen him on the clubhouse streets lately. Is he taking a temporary break? Do you know, or do you know?
I haven't seen Christian. I haven't seen him. I have not seen him.
Okay.
And by the way, keep me in your prayers, everybody, because Philadelphia is going to be insane today. People are outside the bars at 10:30.
And one last question. When you said outside the bars, is that you going to the bar?
No. Although
you're still on your program, is that right?
I'm committed to my own well-being and fitness, and I am.
Yes, for those of you that don't know, Reverend Scott has been sober for over 4 months now. And I want to give him a standing ovation for that. Because I know that when people are addicted, sometimes it becomes very difficult to overcome that addiction. And Reverend Scott, at least as of today, has been sober for at least 4 months. And so he gets major kudos for that. And with that, we are done. It's been a great show for a number of reasons I won't even begin to mention. Thank you very much to all of the mods. We had a complete house of mods today, which is great. Thank you all for doing the heavy lifting, doing the contributions. Thank you, everybody in the audience, for contributing, because without question, the show is better with you than without you. I hope you and your families have a great remainder of your weekend.
That I'm not going to agree. Newt Gingrich and Tom DeLay made some of the most anti-black legislation in the 90s and early 2000s. I cannot agree that the Republican Party was for blacks in the 90s and early 2000s. I would not say that.
I wouldn't say that either party was, but for example, some people voted differently locally than they did at the national level. I always voted Democrat locally because it just made more sense. But I have to admit, and maybe maybe I'm wrong.
Miki, can I ask you, when you say it made more sense, you mean like for like your schools and like what do you mean when you say that?
Because the Democrats locally, I believe, have more programs that are going to benefit the average American. Back in the day, this is what I thought, that the federal decisions did not impact you as much. Now that's since changed. I no longer hold that belief. But, 20, 30 years ago, what the president did or said, it didn't really filter down too much to the average person. They weren't on social media. Nobody was tweeting. There wasn't this constant need for updates. Oh, the president wore a tan suit today. There wasn't the foolishness unless you were just someone that paid attention and had the discussions. And honestly, in my opinion, a lot of people didn't. So yeah, it just made sense, which is why, just like in Texas, as in a lot of red states, you have a lot of the major cities that are blue. They're not red, which is odd in Texas, but a lot of the big cities aren't. So, I'll just say pre-Obama, and I put this in the chat. To me, in my opinion, when Obama ran, that's when there was,
You have come to the end, free from passion and desire. You have stripped the thorns from the stem. This is your last body. You are wise. You are free from desire, and you understand words and the stitching together of words, and you want nothing. Victory is mine, knowledge is mine, and all purity, all surrender. I want nothing. I am free. I found my way. Whom shall I call teacher? The gift of truth is beyond giving, the taste beyond sweetness, the joy beyond joy. The end of desire is the end of sorrow. The fool is his own enemy.
Congressman,
Seeking wealth, he destroys himself. Seek rather the other shore. Weeds choke the field. Passion poisons the nature of man, and hatred illusion and desire. Honor the man who is without passion, hatred, illusion, and desire. What you give to him will be given back to you, and more. The Seeker. Master your senses. What you taste and smell, what you see, what you hear. In all things, be a master of what you do and say and think. Be free. You are a seeker. Delight in the mastery of your hands and your feet, of your words and your thoughts. Delight in meditation and in solitude. Compose yourself. Be happy. You are a seeker. Hold your tongue. Do not exalt yourself, but lighten the way, for your words are sweet. Follow the truth of the way. Reflect upon it. Make it your own. Live it. It will always sustain you. Do not turn away what is given you, nor reach out for what is given to others, lest you disturb your quietness. Give thanks for what has been given you, however little. Be pure. Never falter. You have no name and no form. Why miss what you do not have? A seeker is not sorry. Love and joyfully follow the way, the quiet way to the happy country. Seeker, empty the boat, lighten the load, passion and desire and hatred, and sail swiftly. There are 5 at the door to turn away, and 5 more, and there are 5 to welcome in. And when 5 have been left stranded on the shore, the seeker is called O Gati Nati, he who has crossed over. Seeker, do not be reckless. Meditate constantly, or you will swallow fire and cry out no more. If you are not wise, how can you steady the mind? If you cannot quieten yourself, what will you ever learn? How will you become free? With a quiet mind, come into that empty house, your heart, and feel the joy of the way beyond the world. Look within, the rising and the falling. What happiness! How sweet to be free! It is the beginning of life, of mastery and patience, of good friends along the way, of a pure and active life. So, live in love. Do your work. Make an end of your sorrows. Or see how the jasmine releases and lets fall its withered flowers. Let fall willfulness and hatred. Are you quiet? Quieten your body. Quieten your mind. You want nothing. Your words are still. You are still. By your own efforts, waken yourself. Watch yourself. And live joyfully. You are the master. You are the refuge. As a merchant breaks in a fine horse, master yourself. How gladly you follow the words of the awakened, how quietly, how surely you approach the happy country, the heart of stillness. However young, the seeker who sets out upon the way shines bright over the world. Like the moon, come out from behind the clouds, shine. The true master. Wanting nothing with all your heart, stop the stream. When the world dissolves, everything becomes clear. Go beyond this way or that way to the farther shore, where the world dissolves and everything becomes clear. Beyond this shore and the farther shore, beyond the beyond, where there is no beginning, no end, without fear, go. Meditate. Live purely.
shines, and the warrior in his armor shines. By night, the moon shines, and the master shines in meditation. But day and night, the man who is awake shines in the radiance of the Spirit. A master gives up mischief. He is serene. He leaves everything behind him. He does not take offense, and he does not give it. He never returns evil for evil. Alas for the man who raises his hand against another, and even more for him who returns the blow. Resist the pleasures of life and the desire to hurt, till sorrows vanish. Never offend by what you think, or say, or do. Honor the man who is awake and shows you the way. Honor the fire of his sacrifice. Matted hair or family or caste do not make a master, but the truth and goodness with which he is blessed. Your hair is tangled and you sit on a deerskin. What folly, when inside you are ragged with lust. The master's clothes are in tatters. His veins stand out. He is wasting away. Alone in the forest, he sits and meditates. A man is not born to mastery. A master is never proud. He does not talk down to others. Owning nothing, he misses nothing. He is not afraid. He does not tremble. Nothing binds him. He is infinitely free. So cut through the strap and the thong and the rope. Loosen the fastenings. Unbolt the doors of sleep and awake. The master endures insults and ill treatment without reacting, for his spirit is an army. He is never angry. He keeps his promises. He never strays. He is determined. This body is my last, he says. Like water on the leaf of a lotus flower, or a mustard seed on the point of a needle, he does not cling, for he has reached the end of sorrow and has laid down his burden. He looks deeply into things and sees their nature. He discriminates and reaches the end of the way. He does not linger with those who have a home, nor with those who stray. Wanting nothing, he travels on alone. He hurts nothing. He never kills. He moves with love among the unloving, with peace and detachment among the hungry and querulous. Like a mustard seed from the point of a needle, hatred has fallen from him, and lust, hypocrisy, and pride. He offends no one, yet he speaks the truth. His words are clear, but never harsh. Whatever is not his, he refuses, good or bad, great or small. He wants nothing from this world, and nothing from the next. He is free. Desiring nothing, doubting nothing, beyond judgment and sorrow and the pleasure of the senses, he is moved beyond time. He is pure and free. How clear he is. He is the moon. He is serene. He shines. For he has traveled life after life the muddy and treacherous road of illusion. He does not tremble or grasp or hesitate. He has found peace. Calmly, he lets go of life, of home, and pleasure, and desire. Nothing of men can hold him. Nothing of the gods can hold him. Nothing in all creation can hold him. Desire has left him, never to return. Sorrow has left him, never to return. He is calm. In him the seed of renewing life has been consumed. He has conquered all the inner worlds. With dispassionate eye he sees everywhere the falling and the uprising. And with great gladness he knows that he has finished. He has woken from his sleep. And the way he has taken is hidden from men, even from spirits and gods. by virtue of his purity. In him there is no yesterday, no tomorrow, no today. Possessing nothing, wanting nothing, he is full of power. Fearless, wise, exalted, he has vanquished all things. He sees by virtue of his purity. He has come to the end of the way, over the river of his many lives, his many deaths, beyond the sorrow of hell, beyond the great joy of heaven, by virtue of his purity. He has come to the end of the way. All that he had to do, he has done. And now, he is one.
An afterword, written and read by Jacob Needleman.
Buddhism was born in India. In its beginnings, it conceived of itself not as a new religion, but as a reconstitution of what is essential in the vastness of the Hindu tradition. Taken as a whole, the Hindu religion can be likened to an Olympian armed campaign with great generals dispersed abroad, their huge armies and infinitely variegated weaponry converging upon the enemy, the ego, under some divinely conceived master strategy. Compared to this, Buddhism appears upon the Indian scene as a direct hand-to-hand attack with no holds barred, striking instantly and mercilessly at the enemy's weakest point. By and large, Buddhism has retained this quality of one-pointed practicality, even amid the later flowering of a metaphysics and mythology which, in all of its aspects, rivals the entirety of Hinduism. Put succinctly, the Buddha, who is understood to have lived and taught in the 6th century BC, taught that the principal cause of all human suffering and desolation is the deeply ingrained belief that there is such a thing as a self or ego that persists through time and change. Everything else in Buddhism, its art, philosophy, rituals, and techniques, originated as tools for the destruction of man's illusion that he is a self. This doctrine of no self, or non-Atman, is, as it is said, the diamond which cuts through all errors and confusions of humanity. According to this teaching, everything in human nature is in flux, and a man is nothing but a serial bundle of sensations, thoughts, and feelings, one proceeding from another with nothing to hold them together either in life or death. And not only man, but all things in the universe are without self, without a fixed nature that abides from moment to moment. In the endless and rigorously determined chain of cause and effect that constitutes the universe, we human beings fail by fixing our interest or desire upon one or another phenomenal aggregate, either within ourself or external to ourself. Therein is the root of all our sorrow. What can liberate us is the deep and thorough understanding of all things, including the personality, as causally determined processes of becoming. Consciousness, meaning the totality of thought, feeling, perception, sensation, pleasure, and pain, is not a being, but a passion, not an activity, but only a sequence of reactions in which we, who have no power to be either as or when we will, are fatally involved. Individuality is motivated by and perpetuated by wanting, and the cause of all wanting is ignorance. For we ignore that the objects of our desire can never be possessed in any real sense of the word, ignore that even when we have got what we want, we still want to keep it, and are still in the state of desire. The ignorance meant is of things as they really are, and the consequent attribution of substantiality to what is merely phenomenal, the seeing of self in what is not self. At first glance, this doctrine of no self seems in direct opposition to the Hindu view. But if there is any general view with which the Buddhist doctrine conflicts, it is surely our own Western worldview, as embodied not only in the popular understanding of Judeo-Christian doctrine, but in the goals our whole civilization has set for itself. The religions of the West have imbued us with the idea of an individual eternal soul created by God, also in His way an individual, infinitely precious and irreducibly real. As our modern society drew away from religious doctrine, it substituted for the soul the idea of individual personality, not immortal perhaps, but for that very reason all the more our own and precious. The establishment of our identity, our role, has been the banner cry not only of scientific psychology, but of all the major intellectual movements of modern times, including existentialism and humanism. We measure a person's strength by what we take to be the distinctness and vividness of his individuality, and we all seek to make our mark, either as artists, scientists, or business people. To the Buddhist, all this striving is the pursuit of a phantom. The identity we seek to establish is nothing more than a thought, a picture in the mind of what we are or can be. It is in no wise based on fact. Our sense of persistence and sameness through change is a trick played upon us by the automatic functions of memory, and buttressed by the fact that we are given a name and treated by others as though we were a self. Indeed, our whole society is but a vast collection of sleepwalkers, each addressing the other and conceiving of himself within his own dream of selfhood. All our ideas of morality and obligation, blame and praise are based on this dream and serve only to strengthen the illusion of its reality. Putting the Buddhist doctrine of no self in the above way, its congruence with Hindu thought becomes clearer. We might say that for the Hindu or Brahmanic religion, human ignorance is the ignorance of who we are, of our ultimate divinity. Where for Buddhism, it is ignorance of what we are not. We are not this ego. It is in fact a cardinal trait of Buddhism that its teachings are in negative terms. Break down the illusion, the error, and the truth will appear by itself, for it is always there. It is only obscured and hidden by our ignorant beliefs about ourselves and the desires attached thereto. Of all the great religious teachers of the world, none has incarnated and lived the idea that ultimate reality is beyond the grasp of the ordinary mind with more purity and concentration than the Buddha. This in part explains why the Buddha's discourses say nothing about the existence of a supreme being, for example, or about immortality. Such questions tend not to edification, since they are put by the deluded mind, which is quite content to speculate endlessly about these matters, while clinging to the very beliefs which perpetuate its suffering. Its strategy of negation has misled many Westerners into thinking Buddhism is pessimistic and anti-life. Some have even thought of nirvana, the ultimate goal of Buddhist discipline, as a sort of spiritual suicide. Nothing could be further from the truth, and in fact there is no religion which has a higher estimation of human possibility. It is only that it is not spoken of directly and positively. The exalted level of nirvana can be seen indirectly by attending to everything which the Buddhists say it is not. It is not love, consciousness, peace, freedom, happiness, or immortality in any sense that we understand. We are given no words for it because we have no experience of it. And in the absence of a corresponding experience, names merely purchase further illusions. The Gospels, we may recall, also speak of the peace that passeth understanding. We come to the conclusion that just as the great mystics and saints of our own traditions could describe the supreme reality only by negation and analogy, so the Buddhist tells us of nirvana. Since, however, nirvana also designates the whole of reality, then we see why Buddhism also refuses to admit that our ordinary thinking and language can accurately be applied to anything that is real. Thus, reality is also named the void, or emptiness. A final note, especially important when we come to inquire if a genuine Buddhist way can take root on our own soil. Buddhist moral rules are never ends in themselves. It is essential to realize that ethical commandments in the Dhammapada are understood as necessary preliminaries to any greater spiritual development. What is especially valuable about the Dhammapada is that it shows us there is no real separation between true human morality and the process of inner development. The admonitions and insights in this great text resonate on all levels of our search for our authentic humanity. At one stroke, they bring inspiration to our halting everyday efforts to care for our neighbor and guidance in our efforts to look into ourselves for the radiant energy that is traditionally termed the Buddha nature. The Dhammapada presents itself as the actual sayings of Gautama Buddha and was originally compiled for the growing community of Buddhist monks. It was apparently in existence by the time of the Emperor Ashoka in 250 BC and quickly became popular with all schools of Buddhist thought and practice. It is now, no doubt, time for it to speak more universally to the whole of our morally and spiritually hungry modern world.
Great. The data you won't find anywhere else. Your next great hire is here.
You are listening to LearnOutLoud.com's production of the Dhammapada. This ancient Buddhist scripture is traditionally understood as a collection of answers that the Buddha gave to important spiritual and ethical questions. LearnOutLoud.com is pleased to present this newest volume in our series of important religious writing throughout history. For more audio devoted to the love of knowledge, please visit our website at www.learnoutloud.com.
The Dhammapada, The Sayings of the Buddha, translated by F. Max Mueller. Chapter 1, The Twin Verses. All that we are is the result of what we have thought. It is founded on our thoughts. It is made up of our thoughts. If a man speaks or acts with an evil thought, pain follows him, as the wheel follows the foot of the ox that draws the carriage. All that we are is the result of what we have thought. It is founded on our thoughts. It is made up of our thoughts. If a man speaks or acts with a pure thought, happiness follows him, like a shadow that never leaves him. He abused me. He beat me. He defeated me. He robbed me. In those who harbor such thoughts, hatred will never cease. He abused me. He beat me. He defeated me. He robbed me. In those who do not harbor such thoughts, hatred will cease. For hatred does not cease by hatred at any time. Hatred ceases by love. This is an old rule. The world does not know that we must all come to an end here, but those who know it, their quarrels cease at once. He who lives looking for pleasures only, his senses uncontrolled, immoderate in his food, idle and weak, Mara, the tempter, will certainly overthrow him, as the wind throws down a weak tree. He who lives without looking for pleasures, his senses well controlled, moderate in his food, faithful and strong, him Mara will certainly not overthrow, any more than the wind throws down a rocky mountain. He who wishes to put on the yellow dress, without having cleansed himself from sin, who...
Crazy local events that you're going to be at.
Well, and plus, I can promote the event at Kepler's, and even if
exactly.
Even if it sells out, still it'll be right. Because what this is really about right now is
because you're in the epicenter of people wanting to know about this stuff. You know,
it's building a mimetic snowball, right? Yeah. And the question is, here's the hard part. I think I got it. Can you ethically, and where's Dr. Sandra? Can you ethically build a mimetic snowball that is not just a positive feedback loop, but a virtuous cycle, without running into the very true fact also that I want this book to make a lot of money? So it's kind of like, as soon as the money factor gets involved more than a certain amount, it's almost like things short circuit. And in fact, I wrote my college philosophy honors thesis on this very subject, that there is a moral circuit breaker built into humanity, and that even those who are nascently built or have inherited abilities to do things that you're not supposed to be able to do, they generally don't allow themselves to use those abilities and powers, or you can't get to that place of having that level of ability with if you are too actually self-serving. And then we get to the question of which self is involved here, which is a whole other subject. So it's an interesting time. I should be taking notes. Oh, wait, it's recorded.
You're recorded. You don't have to.
But I said something mean about somebody who's important. So
oh, look. Even Michael James is like, yeah, man, I'll hang up a flyer in the coffee shop. What's up? And around probably Haight Street. So you
here. Well, I think that is like deserves a bullet point, because it'd be easy enough to add one more social asset that's like a flyer that you know, if you live near a college, just put one of these up, right?
That would be, Jordan, as you were talking, it just came to my mind that the financial capital you get, we don't know, but you're at some point you're going to be hot, and there will be a moment, and that you have a much more valuable social capital to take all of this to the next level. So what a possible prediction is that you may be catapulted into a place where you may not have thought you were comfortable, but that it's a massive opportunity for just an evolution of your professional life. And so that's something to consider.
Yeah, no, I've talked about this a lot with Billy in particular. Is Billy still in this room? I'm not. I'm not looking at my phone.
Yeah, he's still in
this room. That's James. That's right. James is in this room. It's if I'm to be some kind of a public intellectual, it's not going to look like what other people do to get there in that pathway. And I'm still trying to figure out, both if that's what I really want to do and what that will look and feel like. And, I don't know.
So, Jordan, that what I've done for my career, and the kind of finances that have, I'm sure you can imagine the finances that have flowed through my hands. Something that I've because this is a big issue for me.
I imagine there were good times and bad times.
Oh, of course, but it was always a big issue for me, and still is. Like, I'm a life coach. I do these things, but a lot of what I do, like my life coaching for my friends, is gratis because it's just what I feel like I am compelled to do. Something I was reading the other day about the finances and about charging people for my time, because my time is valuable. Because I if I give it away, I'm never ever gonna. It's something I can never get back. But maybe starting a nonprofit that you could put some of the funds into, because a lot of it has to do with our ego and id and our humility and our lack thereof.
Well, that's exactly right. That's where the short circuiting happens.
Right.
And it doesn't work if if you're self-aggrandizing in the wrong way. At least for me, just the way I'm built, it falls apart immediately.
Well, no, I mean, that's the way the universe is built, dude. I mean, it's like when the greed aspect came into LSD, when the greed aspect came into marijuana, when the greed aspect came into all these really good
the
things.
Government of the United States, as is happening in real time as we sit here speaking. But yes.
Exactly. I mean, so we can see that. We know the antithesis of it, and rarely. I found that either antithesis, either drastic side is the right one. It's somewhere right in the middle that I've always found personally, where this, because it's the old adage that neither selflessness or selfishness is good. In totalitarian, in total. You can't be completely selfless or you will neglect yourself, which is the most important thing here, because, well, you're passing on this knowledge and this word and this understanding. So, my suggestion is going to, maybe take heed of that, an understanding of that, and develop something prior to it that you can say, look, 20% of whatever I make is going into this new nonprofit that I want to form that is going to, let's say, facilitate the education of microdosing coaches. And do something positive with it, which will keep you grounded, because it's then not the money that you're making, it's the money that you're making to be able to help somebody else. And the giving back and the public service is where I've always found comfort, and is why when I like in the coffee shop this morning, my comments is exactly that. It was all based around the greed aspect and how ultimately, money is the root of all evil to degrees, and it can be the root of all evil.
The full phrase is more like the unbridled lust. Right. After money is the root of all evil. So, I go back to Patrick's dismay for some reason, to Crowley, and to that phrase that some of you have heard me say before, and I'll say it again because I like it. It's for pure will, unassuaged of purpose, delivered from the lust of result, is every way perfect. I'm going to say it again. For pure will, unassuaged of purpose, delivered from the lust of result, is every way perfect. So the question is, how do you both have unassuaged purpose and have full, complete dedication to getting something done, and really be okay with it not working out the way you want it to? Well, it's not easy. And that's where the magical circuit either does kick into action or doesn't.
Has anything ever worked out exactly the way you thought it would, though, Jordan?
No, it's usually Worse in ways I never expected, or better in ways I never expected.
There you go, my friend. There you go. And I'll bet you could probably trace that back to your mindset, and it's like, if you have a consistent mindset of compassion and love for humanity, and that big love, that all-encompassing love, um, I'll bet those are the times where you weren't really concerned about money, and then money just flowed. And it's kind of that is it kind of oxymoron or
who you calling a moron? Go ahead.
Definitely not you, Jordan. But you know what I mean. It's that the ebb and flow of things. If you're focused on purely just the money, then the money won't come. If you're thinking about helping humanity and like I always have in my career, producing the best product I can to benefit the people as best as I can, then it's ultimately always been a better product. Like I could show you with this plant the people who grow for money and the people who grow for love. Their products are completely fucking different. Yeah, that's the best advice I can give. And from my perspective and from what I've held on to throughout my career, and has helped me be, not lose. I mean, even in the worst of it, it's helped me not completely lose my ass. So. I love you guys, man. This is a space where I am surprised that I have influence on such educated people, because I mean, I'm not classically educated. I'm not unintelligent. I'm just not classically educated. I don't have degrees. I didn't even graduate high school. But to be here to share my experiences and be able to, influence people on their path is my purpose. And really, what kind of fucking degree do I need for that? Absolutely not a single one, obviously. So let the pure intention.
We can all use a degree of humility.
Well, yeah, of course. But I took that degree of humility and admission that I don't have a degree. I'm humble enough to realize that, and completely astonished that I could have an effect on people like you, or Dr. Daniels, or Lee, or Billy, or anybody who's more classically educated than I am. It's flattering, and it's humiliating at the same point, because I have to take that humility in it at the same point, and consider it a privilege. And I really do consider it a privilege, and an act of compassion and grace.
We love having you here. It's you contribute a lot, but I'd also like to hear if anybody else has any additional thoughts.
Oh yeah, my plane was landed, buddy. I love you guys.
Billy, you're with Jeffrey. Not really listening. Wow. Any case, probably gonna wrap this one up pretty soon. I've got to do things like walk cats and get ready for this show and such.
I also just want to say one last thing, Jordan. I am super fucking proud of you, bro. Like, super freaking proud of you.
Spell this name. Y-E-A. Yeah. My God, where is he?
So I've never seen a country full of airheads. whose only knowledge is I'm American, American. Come on, will you keep quiet? American my ass. New York,
Boko Haram said that America killed all his
I know. Stop it, Brad. Come on. You're going to get a turn to speak. Chaos, are you ready?
I don't even know where Boko Haram is, but
it's almost Louis.
I'm not a crazy PTSD man. I'm not a crazy man.
Oh, yeah. Louis, go.
Yeah, so Sugar Belly, when you talk about, when you fly into the States and you have to pay, like, higher tuition or whatever, that's not peculiar. Like, even in the United States, within the confines of the United States, from state to state, if I live in Pennsylvania per se and I want to go to a university in New York, I'm paying out-of-state tuition. That's like extra costs for room and board, and it's just because they prioritize those people within the state. I don't think it's any different than someone from a foreign country, a foreign student.
Louis, I don't think it's weird. I'm not against it.
I guess I'm just kind of curious as to what exactly the point of contention is.
Yeah,
Is it that you feel like since you're paying higher tuition that you're like entitled to?
No, Louis, that's not my contention. Right. So how we got here, right, was that Brad is trying to argue that I got a benefit, like I'm getting like privileges and benefits from the American government or from America as a country, right? And my counterpoint is that I paid for like all of my stuff. Like I came to school in America and I paid for full tuition, so I don't see how it's a benefit to me from America.
Why does that matter?
Not complaining
Why
that
is
I
this
have
a
to pay
global
higher school
competition
fees. Like I'm not complaining about that. I'm just saying that the people that are claiming that I'm getting a benefit or a privilege, like, I don't see how it's a benefit since I paid fair and square.
This one still doesn't understand. I mean, your American education system, or at least our post-secondary education system, is like pretty robust. It's one of we have a great school system. Like I think maybe a lot of people who live here take it for granted, but I think that is a bit of a privilege to be able to come to America to school. I mean, people boast about it all over the world. Like, hey, I'm going to abroad.
We've been trying to deliberate about it for over an hour now, and she
Well, we do have a queue, so you can respond to Louis, and then Louis can respond, and we'll.
I'm sorry, because I am asking
my point is that, like, my point is that, like, I'm a shopper, right? The opportunity cost is other countries. So America wasn't the only country that I was able to go to school in. The initial conversation was that I should have gone to the UK or maybe Canada or like even France, like Strasbourg. Like my point is that I had multiple countries I could have gone to university in, including Nigeria. So I'm just shopping around. Ultimately, I chose America.
And you saw more benefit in the United States for one reason or the other.
No, Louis, my point is simply that I could have gone to like a school of equal standing, right, in other countries. The primary reason why I went to America was because I wanted to go with like my friends. So like me and like all of my classmates and my friends.
That was your benefit.
Did I get skipped?
No, you didn't.
All I'm saying is that it wasn't America or nothing. Do you understand? It wasn't America or nothing. So this idea of like special benefit doesn't make sense to me.
This is the last thing, because there were options and you chose the United States. I think that leads me to believe or to assume that there's some benefit that lied in the United States. That could be your friends being there or whatever. That like you thought was like, hey, like this is probably like the best choice for me. That happened to be in the United States. I don't know. I don't think. Yeah, it's all right. You go.
Can I just say something? Hey, Sugar. I just want to say I do.
We do have a queue.
Am I in the queue?
Yes, I did add you. Right now we're on Chaos, Missy V, Concrete, Brad.
Okay. Can I just talk about the visas? That's the privilege. The privilege is the visa.
Why does that matter? Why is this a global competition to you if everyday Americans are still losing their...
I'll be honest here. Like, I chose American universities because of the fact that I could translate that into, like, becoming a citizen relatively easier and knew the process of how to do that. And that's why I chose it, because I felt like the standard of living in America was better than the standard of living in India, and I could, my kids can have a better future. That's why I chose it. And the cost of that is pretty high. I don't think any of you can argue that like the cost of post-secondary education in America is cheap. It's not, and especially if you're an international student, it's much more competitive to get scholarships. You pay a lot more, and guess what? There is a lot of added costs that come to it.
Screenshots
That
of
you,
articles
as a
don't
foreigner,
work.
your currency
Needs
is
to
a
be
lot more
formatted.
like lower than the American dollar. So like, whatever currency you're making in your home country, you're paying a lot more in American dollars, and it's just a part of the process, man. Like, I'm not saying it's not, but I would say this: American students get the privilege of being in American universities, and they get a lot more scholarships than international students do. And if you were to remove, if you just were to like give scholarship based on merit, sorry, I don't think American students can get as many scholarships as international students could get. This is just basically a head-to-head comparison. Like, for instance, like to be an international student and to get a scholarship, you need to be like in the top 1% of your class. But I think most American students who like go into universities, 1 in 5 get in-state tuition, which is the number of international students is a lot lower. I do think that America puts a price on coming here, the privilege of being in America, and once the price is paid, it is what it is, man. It's an exchange. Like, you can't just say,
Why
you
does
paid
that
me money, so
matter?
you're like,
Why is this a
I'm
global
owed you stuff. Like, I already paid my dues, and it is what it is. If it's what it takes, I don't see it being like, I don't think I'm beholden to it after I've paid my dues. That's just like ridiculous thinking. It's like saying, you have to like beg your entire life because you were given a chance to do it. No, bitch, I proved myself, and now I'm enjoying the spoils of war. So like, you can shut the fuck up. This is what.
Having developed
Okay, so am I okay, Kelly?
It's
my turn, baby. I'm almost done.
Where am I at, Kelly? Sorry, Miss Fifi.
Miss Fifi, Concrete, Brad, Rowan, who's requesting before, and then
I'll be quick, Concrete, because I know how to do it.
No, it's cool. I just wanted to know where I was at. That's all. You're good.
That's okay. I wanted to bring the attention to it benefits the universities, guys, as well. The universities, I know HBCUs. I graduated from HBCU, and the what you call international students and things of that nature. I know the presidents, they court these countries sometimes too, I guess, and talk to the best of the best. But the universities get kickbacks. They get money too, so we cannot forget about that. All right, I just wanted to throw that out there.
Thank you. I was considering buying some goats and some cows and camels. I heard camels were really desirable. Now I'm like reconsidering that because of the horrible argument that Sugar Belly is making. And it seems like she doesn't understand, and I put it in terms that she could, return on investment. You understand that American education is going to provide a higher return on investment. It's just that simple. And who's benefiting, as Ms. Fifi said, is the university. Both kids are paying. One is paying more than the other because they know that you will. And that's it. It's not because, we need the money. Have you ever looked at the endowments of these schools? How much money that they have from the alumni and other sources, patents, research, on and on and on. And did you know that those endowments are allowed to invest some of that money? That they have investment fucking funds? And they talk about how they grow the endowment just simply from their investment practices? Like, bro, these schools are not fucking, we're talking about the PWIs. I'm sorry, we can't talk about the HSBCUs, whatever. But yeah, those if you went to a top-notch school, they are fine. They charge you what they charge you because they can. Nothing more, nothing less. It is not benefiting the person next to them because they have the same value proposition or return on investment proposition that you do, which is I get a good education from a good university that affords me lifelong income in a particular industry at a particular rate. Period, point blank. That is the calculus. It is easy to understand. $200,000 education gets you $120,000 start, $70,000, $80,000 starting salary, and 20, 30, 40-year career upwards, with the max being $250,000, $300,000 a year. you do the math over that career, what your return on investment was. And then you just simply juxtapose that to your return on investment in Nigeria or Botswana or anybody or anywhere else. And you say, what's the return? And everybody's saying, well, I think it's going to be better in America.
Wait, concrete, but I think
concrete is correct.
I get what you're saying, and that's why
Brad
I
had been waiting to speak. So we gotta let him.
I'm sorry, just please 1 second. So concrete, at the time that I went to school in America, the intention was not to work in America, and I think that's the part that you're not seeing. Like the return, you don't have a higher return on investment inside Nigeria for going to school in America. And that's the part that you're not seeing. Like, you can get a high ROI in America, but if the person goes to school in America, but their plan is not to live and work in America, this whole thing falls apart.
No, it actually is worse for you because you paid an exorbitant amount of money for an education where you're not able to get the full potential thereof. What?
No, I don't.
Listen,
I don't think you're getting what I'm saying. I'm saying
return
that
on investment works if the person. I'm almost done. Let me just land with this, and then because that was a really bad retort. Return on investment works given the person who is doing the evaluating makes proper decisions. If you don't make a proper decision where you spend extra money on an education simply for whatever the internal value, which is to say how it makes you feel, and you weren't able to capitalize on that, which is to take that experience and turn it into money at the higher rate, okay, all right, I don't know what else to say. You just made a bad investment decision. Or there's some other intangible that is also more valuable from that experience than had you not had that experience, right? Because the intangibles are still assets as well. They are still attained through these experiences, even though they aren't easily quantified. So, Sugar Belly, no matter which way you slice it, and I'm sorry, I don't even. Why would you even bother trying to make this argument, Sugar Belly?
Because I don't like. You're not understanding like the most.
The only privilege is our family have money to send her to school.
So if you go to school, so if you live in Nigeria, you come to America for school, and then after school, you go back home to Nigeria, right? Being successful in Nigeria is not based on the fact that you went to school in America. It's based on politics and family connection. So you're not really getting ROI from like going to school in America if your plan was to live in Nigeria permanently. Do you understand?
Yes,
and that's
that would be a bad decision. You get it? That would be a waste of your money. Unless there is an intangible that you are acquiring, which is the notoriety of your friends, or the prestige, or some other intangible, which has a value, even though it's not easily quantifiable. So it's always going to be return on investment.
So I'm not saying that
whether quantified or not.
Concrete, I'm not saying that there's no value.
Okay,
right?
then we're done.
But concrete, but that's not what I was disagreeing with. This whole argument is happening because some of the Americans in this conversation are trying to portray like the mere fact of coming to America to go to school or working in America as you getting benefits from America, or getting benefits from the American government.
It is a benefit from the American government because America, the prestige of these schools,
everybody in America.
The prestige of these schools are part and parcel to the accomplishments of America. You can't disassociate the two. You can't disaggregate the two. They are intertwined inextricably, right? Prestige, America, country, school, corporations, all associated. I gotta take this call.
Okay. Brad, did you still want to speak?
Yeah, I'm trying to push this into perspective that maybe she can understand. So, like, we have, like, Tanzania. We restrict the number of applicants. Kyrgyzstan, I think we allow almost nobody from this country, even on a student visa. We restrict portions of Nigeria. If you come from a certain area in Nigeria, or if you come from an undetermined immigrant status into Nigeria and think you can get a student visa, then you are denied by the United States. The State Department will not allow your request to go through. So it's literally on the State Department's website. So, so again, idiots that don't read. I can't wait till we deport you.
Yeah, you can't do shit, Albie. He has to torment your life.
Come on.
Read, please.
So again, we restrict a whole bunch of countries. There are countries that don't have to apply for student visas. They can get a visa waiver, such as Canada, such as the UK, a host of other countries, mostly NATO alliances that we have developed actual good relationships with, and we're pretty sound that they can go through and have it. We restrict some Latin countries, a lot of them actually, from doing it, being able to come in on a visa program for student. Again, that privilege is determined at the behest of the politicians or the political system that we have at the current time. Under different presidents, under different administrations, this may change or vary. And coming in, Trump has, Rubio has basically started issuing out further restrictions on student visas. We don't have to allow you to come here, Sugar Belly. That's the whole point. If the U.S. said, no, you're not an American citizen, you can't come to the United States to get your education and go back to your country, then you can't do that. The mere fact that the U.S. government says, we're going to allow you to do this, but the cost is going to be this, that you're going to have to adhere to these rules, and that's the only way you can attend college here, that is a privilege. That is not a right. You're not entitled to it. You don't get it automatically because you're not a U.S. citizen. If you were born here, you are entitled to an education. In fact, it's the law that you have to have an education K through 12, and you have to be afforded, and you cannot be denied a right to continue your education. Now, you can have restrictions on that, cost, etc., shitty grades, you being a shitty student.
Shut the fuck up, you dumb bro. You don't fucking...
What the fuck is wrong with these?
I'm paying no mind.
Again,
Go on.
yeah, like, again, these, like, fucking weird people that are overseas that have no idea how America works and the extent at which we do. And in fact, Nigeria, we protect their trade routes. We protect their shipping. So, Jesus Christ. Like, I know firsthand because...
You don't do anything.
Odie, come on. We're almost got popcorn. Almost.
Again, we missed the warhead on the forehead with Odie. I'm sorry, guys. It's my one fault. I'm sorry to the room. I missed that shot. That was my fault. So, like... when we go ahead and we protect these trade routes that help Nigeria prosper, that help it have economic stability and having its cargo be manifested, the ability to transit, that's the U.S. Navy. The Nigerian Navy isn't protecting fucking trade routes. I can tell you that firsthand. They're not stopping pirates from seizing cargo assets. They're not. They stopped. The U.S. stopped Boko Haram, and other countries came in and fucking defeated Boko Haram, Odie's fucking family. So again, like, these things are done at the behest of the United States. And like Concrete said, the economic stability, the value of an American education, the value of the American currency is what drives the world. The idea that it's not somehow a privilege that you as a non-citizen of the United States get to have any taste of that is a privilege. It's a perk. And not everybody in Nigeria is able to have the same access as you.
Wait, hang on, Brad.
Okay, so we're almost at popcorn. Gigi has been very patient. She wanted to say something about visas, and then Jinx wanted to contribute as well, and then we'll get into popcorn.
Okay, let's create 100.
Does this mean I get to go now? Yes.
Oh, hi. Sugar, hi. Where did you go to school, by the way?
Hi, I went to school in America. I'm not, like, telling anyone, like, where...
Okay, that's fine. But really, what I want to say is that it's the visa that is the privilege. And I went to school in Strasbourg, so one of the places you were considering.
That's nice.
Yeah, and I just remember having to go get my visa, and there are, like, rules that I had to